All right, college algebra homework day 33. We are graphing an exponential function and its asymptote. So if you remember when we graphed the other exponential functions, the asymptote was right along the x-axis. In this case, your asymptote is going to shift. Remember we talked about that horizontal and vertical shift? This is going to shift up 3 places. So your asymptote is going to be at y equals 3 because it's going to move up 3 places. So I'm going to put that horizontal dotted line, it's going to look like that on your tools, right along y equals 3. So it's going to be a horizontal asymptote. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to plot 2 points. And actually the computer's going to plot the points, but in order to get our graph on there, we have to do 2 points. The 2 points we want to use are when we're looking at the horizontal shift, x minus 4. We want x minus 4 to be equal to 0 and x minus 4 to be equal to 1. Those are at least going to give us the 2 easiest points to do. So look at your exponent on your base E expression, set it equal to 0 and set it equal to 1. So in this case, if I solve this, I'm going to add 4. And I'm going to use x equals 4 and x equals 5 in my table. I've got my 2 values that I want to use. I'm going to plug them into my expression and solve. So, 1/3 e to the 4 minus 4 plus 3. 4 minus 4 is 0. So 1/3 e to the 0 power plus 3. Well, what is e to the 0 power? Well, e to the 0 power is the same thing as anything to the 0 power. If I want to calculate e to the 0 power, if I don't remember what to the 0 power is equal to, I would do it this way on my calculator. Notice above the ln, it looks like an in, but it's an ln for natural log, there is the e to the x button. So shift e to the x, and then in parentheses, I'm going to put 0 power. E to the 0 power. E to the 0 power better be 1. Anything to the 0 power is always equal to 1. So, I have 1/3 times 1 plus 3. Well, 1/3 times 1 is 1/3. 1/3 plus 3 is 3 1/3. 3 1/3, we know that in algebra we like to have the improper fraction. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 plus 1, 10. 10/3. We're going to let the computer plot that point. Use the plot point tool. Have it plot 4 with 10/3. For right now, we're going to estimate it. So 4 over 10/3 is up 3 1/3. So it should be just a little bit above your asymptote. Right? 3 1/3. Now, we've done 4. We also have to do the 5. So I'm going to put 5 in there. 1/3 e to the 5 minus 4 plus 3. 5 minus 4 is 1. 1/3 e to the first plus 3. Well, we know that we don't have to put to the first power. This is the weird part. Not that the rest of it isn't weird. When we put this in as an ordered pair, we're going to let Alex calculate this. There will be the choice to put the e in there. So you're going to have 1/3 e plus 3. Now, just so we can get our sketch on there, I'm going to calculate what 1/3 e is plus 3. On your calculator, this is what you would have to do. Not that you're going to have to do it to plot it. You're going to just type it in just like this on Alex. So I would do 1/3 shift natural log of e But behind that e, you have to put the 1 in for e to the first power. So 1/3 e to the first plus 3 gives me 3.91. And like I said, you won't have to worry about calculating that. You're just going to use the plot point tool and put in this point, as weird as it looks. The computer will plot it, but so we can get it on there, 3.91 is not quite to 4. It'll be just a little higher. When you hit the graph button, your graph is going to come from up here and curve back down. Remember how those exponential functions looked on the previous page? And it's going to level off here by your horizontal asymptote. So it's going to look something sort of like that. Number 2 then, now that we got all that basic stuff out of the way. First thing I probably want to do is figure out where my asymptote is going to be. My asymptote is going to be there at -1, so that dashed horizontal line is going to be down there at -1. I get to cover up all my numbers. I then want to find my 2 points that I'm going to plot. So I'm going to look at my exponent and say that the x plus 3 has to equal 0 and the x plus 3 has to equal 1. Always set it equal to 0 and 1 because we want e to the 0 power and e to the first power. Solving this then, I'm going to minus my 3 on both of these. So in my table, I'm going to use -3. -3 plus 1 would be -2. Those are the 2 values I'm going to substitute in on my original expression. So, putting in my -3. 4e to the -3 plus 3 minus 1 gives me 4e to the 0 minus 1. E to the 0 power, going to be 1. Anything to the 0 power is 1. 4 minus 1 is 3. Hey, that one's easy enough to plot. -3, 1, 2, 3, +3, 1, 2, 3. Then I'm going to put the -2 in there. 4e to the -2 plus 3 minus 1. Better put my -1 down there. -2 plus 3 gives me 4e to the first minus 1, which you're going to put in as 4e minus 1 then. Again, I'm going to go ahead and calculate what that's equal to, not that you have to worry about it. 4 shift natural log in parentheses 4e to the first power, and then the -1 on the end gives me 9.87. So 9.9 about. 9.87, so I'm at -2 and 9.87, which is not quite up to 10. So again, when you hit the graph button, it's going to start up here, it's going to curve down, and somewhere close to that asymptote, it's going to level off, and it's going to look something sort of like that. One more of those, as weird as they may be. I am going to graph 2/3 e to the x minus 2 plus 2. I want to start by finding my asymptote. My asymptote's going to be up at +2, so at y equals 2, I'm going to put my horizontal asymptote. I'm then going to find my 2 points. Using my exponent, x minus 2 we want it to have equal to 0 and equal to 1, because we want to have e to 0 and e to the first. So solving those, I'm going to add 2. So in my table, I'm going to use 2, and then 2 plus 1 is 3. So 2/3 e to the 2 minus 2 plus 2. 2/3 e to the 0 plus 2 then. E to the 0 power is 1. 2/3 times 1 is 2/3. 2/3 plus 2 is 2 and 2/3, or 6, 7, 8. 8/3. So 2, we're at 2 and 2/3. Should be just a little bit above my line. It should be closer to the 3. but close enough for what we're doing. Again, you're going to do the plot point tool and let the computer put it on there so it gets in the exact spot it should be. Then we're going to put the 3 in there. 2/3 e to the 3 minus 2 plus 2. So 2/3 e to the first plus 2, which is 2/3 e plus 2. That's what you're going to type in, and make sure that the e goes behind that 2/3. But that's what you're going to type in for your y value of your point, and you're going to let Alex plot that for you. Just for fun, I'm going to figure that out. So 2/3 shift e in parentheses to the first power plus 2 on the end gives me 3.8. 3.81, 3.8. So when I'm at 3, I'm at 3.8, which is pretty close to the 4, and then I have my 2 dots. Again, you'll hit the graph button, it'll come down and level off by that asymptote and look something sort of like that.